Hi, I wanted to do a quick video on the Gila, not sure how to pronounce it, energy-saving window films and how to apply them. I'm not a professional. I've put on, well, for the last 4 days, maybe about 20 individual cut windows, and just kind of wanted to share my my advice and things I've found. After doing several, cursing at a couple, found that it actually can be quite easy. And here's an example of like a last window I have done. You can see that the cut is very nice all along, and it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to do 2 windows. Now, if I back up, you can kind of see the difference between the windows. The 2 on the right have been done, the one on the left has not. These are the platinum windows. The ones at the top have also been done. These are the platinum windows, so they really, I've noticed a tremendous amount of reduction in heat. I live out here in the Denver area, and we certainly get a lot of sunshine and a lot of direct heat. They can really warm the house up in the summer. These also are heat barriers, so they actually will keep the house cool. I mean, warmer in the winter, cooler in the summer. They do let a fair amount of the light through. You can look up on Gila's website, and they will tell you. I think it's 30% transmission. I'm using the platinum. I'm using the peel and stick, and I'll go through kind of the differences. I put one on the titanium, for instance, and kind of tell you a little bit of the pros and cons. Basically, the titanium, I have found it to be easier to install because the film is thinner. Also, if you don't do the peel and stick, but you do the adhesive one, that film is thinner. And having a thinner film actually has some advantages when you're putting it on. Namely, with the same amount of moisture, you can push the film. Once you have it in place, you can more easily push the film around. The thicker films take a little bit more effort. So my recommendation would be, and the difference I should say rather, is that the platinum, from what I've talked to reps and what I've been able to research on the website, there's a couple small differences. The platinum will let a little bit more visible light through, etc. They both have kind of a mirror-ish film, like I think they call it a daytime privacy, which means during the daytime, no one can really see in past maybe about 6 inches from the window. But at night, just be forewarned that the roles are reversed, whereby if you have lights on in the interior of the home and it's dark outside, everyone will be able to see in. Passersby will be able to see in, but you will not be able to see out. You will essentially be looking at a mirror. So if you have a home with some sprawling skylights and you like to be able to look at the stars at night, or something like that, or a home with big windows, they may not be the best choice. They have other, Gila has some other ones like the low reflectivity, or the 3-in-1, I believe. At any rate, these are the ones I went with. The platinums the platinum has the advantage over the titanium, from what I've talked to reps, of having a low E. I believe that E is for emissivity. And the titaniums are like a 0.66, something around there, and the platinums are like a 0.4. And essentially, the lower the number, the better, the more it will insulate. But it is a little bit more of a pain to put on. And so if you live in like the southeast or maybe in the southwest where it's not very cold in the winter, I'd probably recommend the titaniums because they're just a little bit easier to put on. Generally speaking, Home Depot, there are a number of different carriers, but Home Depot carries, I believe, just the titanium as of making of this video, and Lowe's does not carry the titanium, but instead carries the platinum. Let me go ahead and show you what it looks like from the outside before I get started. Again, this video is mainly for the non-professional that's looking to get a relatively professional job with the least amount of cursing and frustration on your windows. So this is what it looks like from the outside, and you can see you cannot see in. All of them are done except for this first window. You can't really see it too well in the from this viewing angle, but if you can kind of look, you can kind of see into the interior where the light is coming through there. You cannot do that on the other ones. They simply reflect back. The closer I get, and perhaps once I get more in the shade, you can see a little bit more of the interior of the home. So it's a really nice effect. Let's go ahead and make our way into the home. Again, apologies, I don't have a tripod or anything like that, so I have to adjust to the wiggling. Let's talk about the tools, what you need for the job. I would highly advise getting the proper tools. They make all the difference. This is a pretty technically skilled thing to do to make the windows come out well. Once you have the technique, it's fairly easy and straightforward. You know, I do about 3 windows in half a day, so if I did a full day worth of work, I could do about 4 complete windows, top and bottom, so 2 pieces. Here's the tools you're going to need, and I believe Gila sells some of these in the package. So you have the spray, which you can actually make with some Johnson & Johnson baby soap and some water. And I can show you some techniques for making that, because there are some surfactants in the baby soap, which I'll briefly describe it now and hopefully show you a little bit later. If you're making your own, there is, Gila does tell you how to make it and shows you a video on the website, which I would highly recommend. You can also, when you put the Johnson & Johnson soap or any really baby soap, if you stir it around, kind of making a vortex with a spoon, you notice that all the soap suds and the surfactants will go to the center, and you can simply scoop them out. And I would recommend that. It'll just kind of make a little bit cleaner job. So here's an example of the platinum. Here's the peel and cling. Whether it says peel and cling or like a static something, it says some. Those are both the ones that I'll be installing. Those are non-adhesive, so they are removable, but they do stick rather well. I've had no issues with them past 4 days. What you're looking for is in the box is they have a white paper, like a wax type paper, and that's basically all that it needs. It goes apart from the wax, and there's no need to separate the film from anything else. We have the spray bottle. I would recommend a squeegee. I think in Gila's package they give you a smaller one. Something about this size is nice, and that's about it's probably about 9 or 10 inches there. I would highly recommend this edger. Okay, measuring tape, Windex, paper towel. The screwdriver is simply for removing the blinds. This is a very nice feature. You're going to want to clean your windows very, very well. This is just a simple long razor. Highly recommend that, especially if you have old windows, which may have some paint on the edges and stuff. Scissors, box cutter / razor knife. Okay. Before we move on, I want to show you some imperfections. So some of these films we found have some imperfections. If you find some imperfections in the film, highly recommend simply taking it back, because those will show up. A few have been able to get through. In other words, I haven't detected them until it's too late, and I may redo it, and I can show you an example. The typical patterns that you're looking at, let me see if I can get an example, are either a strong crease. This is one that would be defective, and I typically take back. So a strong crease that cannot be simply kind of pressed out. Okay? The other thing is, you may be able to see as I pass through, you see these little bumps here. If you look, that's just kind of from the machining of the film. Some of them look like this. Any type of imprint is like an S type of imprint. That's not simply water buildup, that's a manufacturer defect. And simply take those back. And I found that maybe about 1 out of every 5 packages has something like that. Now it could have been the batch, or the fact that others, we basically bought lows out of their platinum, so it could be that people simply returned them and saw them, and so it's just constantly being, that was kind of what's left. Okay, that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. You also want a big flat surface. So the first thing you're going to want to do is clean your window. You use a ton of paper towels, that's fine. Usually I use about a roll every 4 full windows. And you want a fresh one. I wouldn't use a rag because you don't want any small dirt, particulates, pet hair, anything like that. When in doubt, just grab a fresh one. Yes, you will go through a lot, but it'll be worth it in the end. Okay. Once different surfactants or dirt particles get underneath the window, it can be a pain to remove because as you go to peel the window back up, it chases the water and it goes further and further and deeper into the window until you're essentially pulling up the entire film and reapplying. Okay. So what you're going to do is, usually I do about 3 Windexes. You're going to just do a normal Windex like you would. The next thing I usually do is I usually Windex all of the sides to make sure that it's not going to pick up any dirt from the surrounding areas. And the last one I do is I use this razor knife as an etcher. So I just etch off any paint or microscopic particles of dust and dirt. That will also help prepare the glass, get more of the micro cracks available for the film to adhere. If you have an older window, it's going to probably take a little bit longer, but spend the time up front because any little bump or divot or an old dried paint or something of that nature is really going to cause you problems and increase the ability of the film to peel back. Okay? So I will, not going to actually go through the process of cleaning the window fully. I'll just kind of show you how I use the razor knife. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I'll just spray a little bit like that. Take my razor knife and just kind of go moving from the inside to the outside. I'm fortunate to have a pretty new place, so these windows don't have a lot of paint on them or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and resume in a moment.